Hey guys, what's up? It's Emily here. Just wanted to give you some positive, productive feedback about these portfolio sites that you just submitted. What I'm going to do is go through the submissions one by one and kind of point out some of the areas that you need to address as you continue to evolve this site to your next best place. So we're going to start here with New Loose site. So we get your brand front and center up here, home, about, services, contact, lets us know that you're a publicist, and then kind of an interesting, design in the background here, but nothing else on the home page. This is a missed opportunity because this is high value real estate, which means it's, really important to put your most intriguing, engaging content here and to let people know what you're all about. They might not go beyond this page, so if this is all they see, is this all you want them to know? Something to think about. As I click here to the About page and it takes me to learn more about you, I see just kind of a short bio with a little bit of your background here and then places that we can connect with you via social media. You've got a really beautiful shot behind the text here, but it makes it a little bit more difficult to read. My recommendation would be, like, this is a nice picture, let's see it unobstructed and bring it over here to border the text, right? So that the text is easier to read and that the picture is easier to see. Under services, as this page loads up, we can see that you are highlighting a few different areas here. So we've got, entertainment and marketing, brand, and digital marketing. So kind of three service areas, but notice how it's all center aligned here on the page, and I have to kind of scroll to see the other bits of text. My recommendation is to left align this text, which will make it easier to read, and do three columns. Over here we have entertainment PR, brand PR, and digital marketing over in this space, and you'll be using more of this available area, and I don't have to scroll to see everything that you're doing there. Last but not least, we have contact and just a simple form and phone number where we can reach you. I would recommend including a call to action. Why should people contact you? Kind of what are the touch points that you're looking to make here? Overall, this is a nice start, but sort of noticeably absent is any demonstration of your skill or work. You talk about doing PR, but how are you going to show that you do that, or how can you do digital marketing with clients? And so that's definitely something that you need to be thinking about as you evolve this site moving through the MCBS program. I think case studies are a great way to show PR related work, but you definitely want to have something to point to say this is what I can do for you or your company or your brand. Next up, we're taking a look at Jasmine's site. So here you have your name and the miscellaneous public fuzz. So this is your blog. We see kind of like a really nice full screen image of Las Vegas there. And then a few videos. I don't see anything here, though, that gives me context to understand these videos, right? So there's nothing about this, the wording that you're using here, that lets me know anything about what you do, right? So there's nothing that says anything about media or video making or digital, art in any sort of way. So I don't have context to understand these videos and why I should want to push play on these. And when I do press play on them, what am I seeing and how do I understand what I'm seeing? So what's needed here is a title of the video, a description of the video, the roles that you played in the creation of the video, and any equipment or software that you used, right? So all of that is keyword-rich content that lets me know about your skill set and ultimately what you could be hired for in other ways. Jumping next to the About. So here, as it loads in, I see a fun picture of you that talks a little bit more about, what you're doing with media storytelling. Everything here is center aligned. Again, you guys, my recommendation is always left aligned for paragraph text because that is easier to read, right? So you want to, like titles and headings, it's fine to center align them, but when you have a paragraph of text, you want to make sure, that you are left aligning that. And this is a recommendation for everybody's site. You definitely need to have more eyes than yours on it in terms of spelling and grammar, because you want to make sure that nothing is misspelled or any words are misused or everything that you're saying makes sense. Last but not least, we're going to go to the contact page here. I would say contact form is redundant language, left aligning this text, and it's kind of hard to read this gray on top of the pink. So my recommendation would be either to just go with all black text, or all white text would also show up really well here. This is a nice evolution of your site, Jasmine. I think the biggest opportunity for you here is to talk a little bit more about what you're showing and why you're showing it. What are you attempting to showcase? What skill set are you trying to share here? Taking a look at Nick's work here, digital commercial video, homework about contact, all very intuitive, links. Scrolling down, I see kind of a button to explore the work. Sort of because of the Wix banner, because of my own setup here within Chrome, that button is hidden. I would like for it to be a bit more visible here above the fold, meaning the area before I have to start to scroll. My recommendation may be to left align this text and maybe make the button a bit more prominent over here so that someone doesn't miss it. Going to go next to work. So talking about your editing skills, motion graphics, we see a lot of videos here kind of to showcase your skill set in that area, which is great, but sort of noticeably absent are any type of title or description of these pieces in addition to any of the roles that you played in the creation of them. Maybe you did everything, and if you did, that's important to explain, right? If you produced this video, if you edited the video, if you were the camera work, all of those things are different skill sets, and important to know that you have that much depth in what you can do. I'm going to click on one, and it's just going to start to play, right? And so really there's a missed opportunity in more fully explaining the skills that you're looking to showcase here. Under the About, we have just a little bit of info. Center aligned text needs to be left aligned. My recommendation would maybe be to move the image over here and then move this text up side by side, so I'm not having to scroll to read the text that you've drafted. Last but not least, just a simple contact form. This is a great site. A few tweaks and you've got something really strong here, and I look forward to continuing to see how you build upon this and even more so solidify your identity and the skill set that you're looking to market. A fan of this color combination and of the clean aesthetic that you've created. Here we're looking at Gregory Camacho's site. Multimedia communicator, home about me, portfolio, contact and blog. Just a little bit of information about your background and experience. This is very clean, very professional looking. All these places here that I can connect with you online. You're just going to kind of poke through these pages to see what you have to show. Talking about your web and graphic skills, this is really strong. The layout is on point. This is a bit of dense paragraph material here. My recommendation would be to break this up a little bit more if you can. Look for ways to leverage headings or subheadings or bulleted lists or call out quotes, just so that it's not one dense paragraph of text. Under portfolio, I go ahead and click that and it brings up a gallery, right? And so I can click on each one of these things. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and click on one, and when I do so, it just kind of gives me a title that looks like kind of a default of the file name. It seems as if maybe you're attempting to showcase that you have gone ahead and maybe taken a screenshot of the website, right? And so here, you might have done more. You might have written copy. You might have done the graphic design for this or the branding, but none of that is being conveyed because I don't have a title or a description of what we're seeing here. And if you did in fact create these websites, a better way for me to see and experience, this interactive design that you've created is to provide me a link so I can go there and poke through it. I can see sort of visually, but really what I'm seeing when you give me a screenshot of a website is just a graphic, right? And I don't get to understand your the depth of your knowledge in terms of user experience or information architecture, being able to poke around that and see if you've created an interface that's easy to navigate. Under portfolio, I'm going to go here to Instagram and see what this pulls up, and it's got just your different images and different ways that you are kind of showcasing yourself. I don't know how much sense this makes to put it under portfolio, because this isn't really your portfolio of work. It's just kind of like your professional persona here, and we have your Instagram here. So to me, this is actually the only link you need to that. And same goes for YouTube. So here this is going to, it looks like, bring up a collection of videos. Now this could be considered a bit more portfolio if this is the work you've done yourself, video editing, or any type of camera work, things of that nature. But I don't understand pulling it out of your portfolio. Like, you can feature videos inside your portfolio. So maybe a bit more, strategy with how you want to share and lay out these projects. Under contact, we have just a simple form, a really awesome picture of you here, and maybe suggest why people should get in touch with you. If you're for hire, maybe talk about what services you offer, or kind of what it would take to engage those services here. Under blog, we just have what looks like, it almost looks, yeah, it's your MCBS blog, but it also looks kind of like maybe there's additional things here. You have presented yourself in a very professional way, as if you're doing this already, like in your life, to make money. And I don't know how much sense it makes to include student work here if what you're trying to show is kind of that you're a lifelong learner and a quest for knowledge. Then that makes sense. But there is a distinction between student life and professional life, and to the extent that you're trying to promote yourself and your professional work, I think it's a good question to ask yourself, does it make sense to include a student blog here? And next up, we're looking at AJ's site. So here, branding, design, and content creation. And then we've got a photo, like a really pretty photo of a like kind of waterfall creek scene. But there's really nothing about this that screams, design or content creation. There's kind of like nature photography here. Like, if you had said photography here, then this image would make sense. But for me, it's a bit of kind of a disconnect between what you're saying and then what you're showing. This is that high value real estate area, meaning that if somebody only came to this page, would they get a good understanding of your skills, your experience, and what you can do for them? And I would say that it is a bit not contradictory, but not in alignment, right? Like, these things don't really feel fully represented in what we see here. I'm going to jump next to the About page. So here we have an image of you, and then a little bit of a kind of a background info about who you are and kind of your approach to things. Left align that text. It's a big paragraph. My recommendation would be to break that up a little bit. Notice though that now that I'm on this page, that the navigation has gone away, meaning that like I don't have any way to navigate to another page except to go and kind of hit this logo to go back, and so that is kind of an error in your navigation. People should always be able to go to kind of every different page from whatever page you're on, so you want to make sure that your navigation is consistent from page to page. This center alignment of these links really should be over here, right? So, and align to the left to be consistent with what we're seeing elsewhere on your page. So I'm going to go ahead and hit experience. So here, it gives a little bit about your history and, being at Full Sail, and the services that you offer include, these types of things. So it's kind of cool to hear the articulation of this. I would say that this information though could be used on the homepage instead of this image, right? Like, there's not much on all of these pages, and you're making me kind of awkwardly poke around to find the information. And so my recommendation, honestly, with what you have here would be to create more of a one-pager with sections, right, where you talk a little bit about what you're into, that little about me blurb, kind of, I don't know that it was so much experience as it's the services that you're offering. You didn't really note work that you've done for other people in that area. So here, are some of the content that you've created for, different folks. We've got some graphics here, some cover art. You have quite a lot of things, but the fact that I have to scroll so much to get there and to see it, and we have so much available space, you're just not leveraging this space in a way that really makes your content easy to navigate and to absorb, right? Like, so here, we have some different, looks like social content for ServPro, right? kind of more interesting than each one of these individual graphics would be for you to kind of talk about the work that you do for this company or this brand, and then to show a collection of it, almost like a case study of what you've done. I also want to point out what's happening over here with your navigation, so there's definite need for a fix in that area. Last but not least, we got the contact, ways to connect with you online, but no real call to action about why people should contact you or what it would mean to engage your services. So definitely an opportunity to clarify that there. And last but not least, we're going to look at Michaela's site. So we've got, you know, kind of a small, you know, bit of text up here. The text itself is actually smaller than the navigation icons, and I would recommend a reorganization of this logo that allows your name to be bigger and more easily read in this space up here. Kind of scrolling down, we see kind of a collection of stock photos, and I don't know that that is the most effective or valuable use of this space, right? Like, I don't get to learn anything more about you, and I don't get to learn anything more about the skills that you do, and I have to scroll to see that. So here I have your mission and a little bit of it about you. This is a kind of a dense paragraph. I would look for ways to break that text up a little bit. It is aligned down the left-hand side, which is great. We haven't seen that much in the other sites that we have taken a look at. But just to kind of like break that up a little bit so it's more easily scanned. So here we have your resume. This is looking great. You do have it with like headings, subheadings, bulleted lists. This is easy to scan. There's some inconsistency in terms of capitalization, so you want to make sure you get another pair of eyes on this, like someone who is a discerning editor who can look both for spelling and misused words or grammatical errors. So here we have your work and a collection of different projects here. And a diverse collection of projects, which is great, but not much context to understand each of them. I'm going to click on one, or it doesn't seem like I can click on it. So here's a collection of videos, but nothing that really tells me about what you did for each video. Let me click on one to see what happens. It's going to load into this space. And I just want to point out the title is Week 2 Project My Digital Story. But that, to me, makes sense as a piece of student work because I'm an instructor and know that that's what you were instructed to call this. But what would be a better title for this? What would be a more meaningful title? How can I know what roles you played on this or what you did? That is important contextual information to help me understand the depth of your skill set and ultimately what I can hire you for at some point. And the same thing goes for, you know, these different pieces, right? So like you created this, but I don't really have any info to understand what I'm looking at, right? Okay, it's your mission, but like, are you showing me this because you just want me to know your mission, or are you showing me it as an example of graphic design? These are things that, you know, you guys need to be thinking about the purposefulness of what you're sharing and why. Here on this page, I'm clicking on these areas and they look like links, but in fact they're not links. They're not taking me anywhere. It's just text. As I scroll down, like it seems like it's taking me to those different areas, like that this is a one-pager site. And I'm a big fan of one-pagers. It forces you to be a bit more editing with what you're choosing to share, but the navigation is off in terms of its functionality, so that's definitely something you need to revisit and to configure in a way that allows me to you know, pop between these different sections. Overall, you've got a great collection here, and you know, with a bit more strategic placement of the content and organization and linking of your nav, you could have something you know, that is quite functional. If you guys have any questions about the feedback that I provided here, please let me know, and I look forward to seeing these sites as they continue to evolve.